Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. At the beginning of this year, in fact, like the day before 2024 kicked off, I made a prediction list talking about 10 archetypes I thought would get support in 2024. Fast forward about 8.5 months, we're a little over 2/3 of the way through the year, and I think it's a good time for us to check on progress. There's an argument I should have done this halfway through the year, but I think this is a good kind of final stretch look at some of the things, because I think we've also hit on some of these in the last 2 months, so, things have gotten better as time has progressed. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at my 2024 prediction list. We'll talk about each one individually and how they're going, how much faith I have for the rest of the year on what could make it and what probably won't, after, realigning my thoughts. And then I've already been doing a little bit of pre-research for 2025 because I want to do the same thing next year. It's just a really fun activity to do. So keep in mind that part of this list is that if I picked archetypes that I just purely thought were going to get picked, I could obviously have a better win percentage, but what's the point in doing that if they're not even archetypes you want? So I think it's a good, healthy middle ground to pick not only archetypes that you do think are realistically, up for support, but also are ones that you'd be happy about, because if something gets in, it gets support, but you don't even care about them, then what's the point of being right if it's not even an archetype you're interested in, you plan on playing? This doesn't make any sense. So let's take a look. Here is my 10 archetype list that I started the year with. I guess we might as well start with the ones that have hit already, and then we can talk about the ones that haven't yet and how I am viewing them down the stretch in terms of how likely they are, what my thoughts are there. All right, so starting off here at the top, let's start with the bangers, right? Trickstar. Absolute banger. Coming into this year, we didn't even have the duelist pack announced, but I knew that we had gotten all 5 of the other attributes aside from light. So I knew with the expectation that we would get the light duelist pack this year. I thought Trickstar was the most likely archetype to make it in from all light archetypes, and that was 100% correct. I was on the money. I had people tell me, no, it's Melodious, and Melodious got support this year, so those people weren't entirely wrong. But as far as the duelist pack goes, Trickstar was absolute money, so we're taking that to the bank. Also, Atlantean, pretty big banger as well. Not the way I expected, though. I thought there was a good chance Konami, after printing Fire King for the Year of Fire 2023, I thought since they skipped Atlantean to do Fire King in the lineage of Structure Deck R, I thought they might go back and do Atlantean this year. Now, they didn't do the structure deck, but they did get a solid wave of support in a core set. I think they got 5 new cards. That's a banger, right? Some of these archetypes are only going to get 1 card in a core set, and it's going to be yes, technically I got it, but it's not a banger. Both of those are absolute bangers. 7 cards for Trickstars, 5 cards for Atlanteans. We're absolutely cooking. Next up, Magistus. This one was so easy. This one was if you were playing bingo, this would almost be the free space for 2024. Once Magistus was announced to be the next Structure Deck Stories, archetype that it was going to be based around, we knew that going forward it was going to get cards. We didn't know exactly when or how. We get a V-Jump promo that's really good for them, and then we just literally yesterday got another promo revealed for them from the stories. And they're both really, really good for the archetype. Is it all the way there yet? No, but that's 2 bangers, and I wouldn't be surprised if Magistus gets even more cards in some sort of Christmas December product, because that is what they did 2 years in a row with Sky Strikers. Sky Striker got new cards either announced or entirely, out in the OCG, literally for a Christmas product. And that when they were the OCG Stories main archetype. So we already hit on it, but we could get even more throughout the year and make it a full-on banger. Because right now it's just 2 cards. They are good cards, but just 2 so far, and they don't make them necessarily crazy yet. But I think that could be coming, because they are getting better and better as the months progress. And the last one here of our actual hits is Muskets. This one we could go back and forth on whether this is an actual hit or not, but I think in terms of archetypes that got a boost from Fiendsmith, because Magical Musketeers did not actually get any new archetypal cards for themselves. Fiendsmith is literally as close as Magical Musketeer support can be without having Magical Musketeer in its name. I mean, how many archetypes went from completely unplayable to literally like borderline top 10 deck in the game. Everybody, at least now as a competitive player, like acknowledges this deck. They're like, this is a real deck. It's a pretty good deck. It's solid. It's scary if you play against it. Right? So I don't think there's like literally another, like maybe there's another one, but like for the most part, Fiendsmith made Snake Eye a little better, Yubel a little bit better, like the Fiend deck's a little bit better. But being a light Fiend archetype like Magical Musketeers, this deck went from unplayable all the way to like borderline top 10 deck, and that's pretty good. I'm gonna count that as a dub. This one was kind of out of nowhere because I was more so hoping for straight up Magical Musketeer support, but we will take it if you are a fan of muskets. Overall. All right, and that brings us to the 6 archetypes that have not yet got their support this year. Let's start left to right, and we'll work our way back over here in my overall thoughts. Actually, we'll kind of go and we'll do it as it makes sense, okay? So let's talk Gusto and Elswarm, because I think the most important thing to note about these 2 archetypes is they're dual terminal archetypes. And the reason I put 2 dual terminal archetypes on here was because we knew we didn't know, but I had a hunch that we would get Terminal World 2 this year. Not to mention stuff like Naturia, Teller Knights, and Constellar. There have been a couple archetypes from Dual Terminal in the last couple of years that have also gotten good support. So it seems like Konami's really trying to get around to a lot of the Dual Terminal archetypes. I thought these 2 made sense. Gusto performed really well in that OCG vote on like what archetypes deserve like a structure deck kind of thing, I believe was what Gusto was a part of. It performed pretty well. I think it was 2nd or 3rd, and for some reason they have not come to it, even though like literally your fan base told you they really like Gusto and would like support. I thought it made a lot of sense. Now, to be fair, we've only had 2 of Terminal World 2's archetypes revealed so far, so there's still 2 open slots here. Both of these archetypes could make it. Elswarms I thought made sense because, and this is more so specific Evil Swarms, but I figure if Konami's going to make Evil Swarm support, it'll probably support Elswarm, and probably help both Steel Swarm and Evil Swarm at the same time, so I didn't think it was really that important. But this is more so Evil Swarm specifically. But because of that reason, same thing with Teller Knight and Constellar, because they kind of share a half name, I figured Elswarm was a good pick because Konami could kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. They could get 2 dual terminal archetypes supported at the same time, even though Evil Swarm probably has a bigger fan base than Steel Swarm does. They still exist. Fans of Steel Swarm still exist, so you can still hit both archetypes at the same time. I figured that was extra incentive. I thought that made sense. I am not off of these archetypes yet, but our chance of hitting them has been cut in half already just by the first 2 dual terminal archetypes already being announced. So we're going to hope. I think at this point I'd be happy if one of them ends up in Terminal World 2. I'm not going to be greedy and say both should be there, but hoping that one at least gets in there, and we'll go from there. Crusadia, this one's tough. I mean, I put Crusadia here because this is a fan favorite archetype from World Legacy lore, and a year or 2 ago we got Crawler Soma, so it was like Konami hasn't completely forsaken World Legacy archetypes, especially with something like Orcust Harp Horror also coming off the ban list. So I thought, like, is there a world where now that we've not only gone off of World Legacy, but we've made it through Albaz and through Visas Starfrost, we made it through 2 more like lore worlds post World Legacy and into a new one. Is that long enough for them to come back around? They haven't come back around like I thought they would. It's still totally viable that Crusader could get 1 or 2 cards in any given core set, but that's kind of what we are at this point. It's kind of a shot in the dark type archetype. Then down here at the bottom we have Burning Abyss and Subterror. These 2 kind of get lumped together for me. These are 2 older archetypes, haven't really gotten support in a while. Subterror's most recent support is Guru, realistic support at least. And then Burning Abyss most recent support is like Cherubini, which really didn't even end up being the biggest BA support. It ended up seeing more abuse in other archetypes, more so than its own. And so I thought these archetypes being 1, 2 of the biggest fan favorite TCG exclusive archetypes of all time, and 2, just both being crept out of the game. Burning Abyss now losing Beatrice needs support even more than ever, and Subterror just needs it, right? It was a very heavy control deck. We banned a lot of the floodgates it used to use, so it can't even lean on that. In fact, I think they should support Subterror in a way where they use more of their engine anyway, and they're just a really good mid-range flip deck, but I digress on that. These are Hail Marys. It is what it is. The only real way these cards get support is either some weird TCG exclusive product, or like a core set just comes out and gives them a big wave. So there's still Hail Mary options, kind of like Crusadia. There's no real reason to believe they will, other than it's been a while, and I think they should get it because players will like it, and the archetypes need the help. That's basically where those are at. And the last archetype we have here is Cyber Dragon. I thought this one was going to be a banger coming into this year, but honestly, a little bit of conflict on my end. I mean, the reason I put Cyber Dragon in here is because I think it's like a top 5 or 6 Yu-Gi-Oh archetype in terms of how many people love it. Like literally fan favorite, like maybe number 5, maybe number 4. But this is an archetype that has not gotten an actual Cyber Dragon card in like legit 5 straight years. And so, you know, I thought that seems crazy because Blue Eyes, Dark Magician, Hero get support every year, at the latest every other year. Like maybe they go a year not giving Dark Magician new cards, but then they give him stuff the next year. Like literally every other year those archetypes get cards. Cyber Dragon has not gotten anything in like 5 straight years. Now what I missed is that I think this is probably a banger for next year. If I had really lined it up and thought about it, Cyber Dragon was probably a better pick for next year rather than this year, but it is what it is at this point. I still think they're up for support sooner rather than later, but in this long ass game that's been going on forever, sooner kind of can mean like within a year. So, you know, we still may have to wait a little bit on that. But that's where we're at. Feeling pretty good overall. 4 out of 10 so far. If we get one more, I'll be happy. If you told me coming into this you're gonna get 5 out of 10, that's pretty good, because a lot of these were like throw them at the wall and hope kind of archetypes. So I feel pretty good about that. But let me know, guys. I know if any of you were following the channel when I posted this video and said, you know, put down your list and keep track of it. Let me know where your list is at and how many you've gotten right so far. And I'd love to hear it. I'd love to see how you guys are doing, and especially if it's archetypes you like yourself. It makes it all the much like more worth it when they do hit. So I'm out of here for today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, guys, I will keep you posted. By the end of the year, we'll go over this one more time, looking at how well we did. And then, of course, my 2025 prediction. So stay tuned for that. I'll see you guys in the next one, though. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.